I don't cook a ton, let's be real. The things I do cook seem to be well received. A lot of those are different kinds of salads and pestos, and I certainly am the one in our household that comes up with the ideas. I'm the creative thinker behind what do we have in high production out in the garden, at the farm, what's at the farmer's market, what meats do we have available in the freezer. Let's pull all that stuff together and make something delicious. I get to lead in that creative way, which is super fun, and it gives me the all-powerful executive director with the final decision feeling for my ego, right? But one of the things that I have made over the years that seems to be always well received, and the thing about me is that if it's just chopping up stuff and putting it together, you're more likely to see me doing that kind of stuff. So I'll make the pesto I've talked about a few times. I like to make tomato basil soup. I like to make chicken and dumplings. It's pretty easy. I just throw it all in and make the pot. But one of the good things that Lily has always really appreciated that I make is the chicken salad that I make. And so I'm pulling together a chicken salad today. And the things that I have done so far is I have chopped up my onions, a few onions, and yes, we don't mind the sharp onions. You may not like that sharp onion in it, but I like that crunch and I love that flavor, and so that's a good mix into it. I love to do things a little bit sneaky sometimes. So one of the things that I can add in that's not going to make a huge difference in the flavor, I've had this pickles. This is actually pickled cauliflower. It's been in the fridge. It's gone to the end of its season. It's time for us to get it eaten. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is take the garlic out of here and the onions and maybe even one or two of the cauliflower. But then I like to use the actual brine because I like a tart, salty chicken salad. I don't like the real sweet chicken salad. I do like a more like with turmeric. So sometimes I'll do it that way. And I do add like nuts and things like that, but this time when I'm just trying to pull something together quickly, I'm really just using what I had, and so I'm going with the tartness. So the mustard is tartness, the pickle brine is tartness. I'm now taking the celery and getting the celery all nice and chopped up. So I'm going to throw that in there. I have heard that you should not use your knives to do what I just did. So maybe use the back side of it because it dulls your knives faster. Or then some people use little scraper devices that they pick up with. So that's an option as well. And then I also have some mayonnaise that I use. I like real mayo. Of all the different things we've taken on to make in our home, cowboy queso, the redneck queso with Velveeta and Rotel, we don't make that anymore. So there's a lot of things that we pull together on our own. Ranch dressing is a perfect example of that. I love Joe's ranch dressing. It's really good. I love ranch dressing. So if I'm going to eat ranch dressing, then I want to make sure I'm using the highest quality ingredients all pulled together and that it's fresh and it's not got a bunch of preservatives in it to keep it more shelf stable for longer. And then we use it up pretty quickly. But mayo is one of the things that is very easy to make. We just haven't done it yet. It hasn't gotten on the list of learn how to do or challenged. If you listen to the podcast, you've heard us talking about Joe gets challenged. He's got a challenge right now to make a grain-free pizza dough. And he also has a challenge right now to get back to making a little bit of kombucha for our house because I love his kombucha. So some of the other things I'm going to use the mustard seeds because I like that crunch in there. I'm also going to take some of our farm fresh eggs, backyard fresh eggs, and peel those and chop them up. And then, of course, I've got the chicken over here as well. I'm going to start chopping things up, and I'm just going to talk and tell stories while we chop. So one of the things that we like to make sure that we use all of the different ingredients that we have available to us to make sure that everything, that we use all of our resources. So of course, we buy chickens when we don't have our own chickens, and we do process our own chickens on the farm sometimes. When we buy chickens from the farmer's market, we'll buy a whole chicken, and because of that, we can get, a nice sized bird that we're talking about a 6-pound type of bird, and we are paying a high price for that. We're happy to pay it, but we want to make sure that we use every part of that chicken. And so this particular chicken went into a chicken spaghetti last night. Now, the pasta that we made wasn't a regular pasta. We used spaghetti squash. And so because we had purchased a spaghetti squash from the farmer's market a while back, one of the things about our area in the zone 9B that we grow in is that we are going to get a lot of that winter squash, autumn squash at the end of the spring, because we, you know, the way we grow down here, we're about to go through our really slow season now where everybody else has got a lot of product. We actually are about to go through 3 or 4 seasons of nothing, and it's July right now. And so this is our quiet season. So this is when we start using those saved winter squash and things like that we have put aside. So the first part of this chicken went into a delicious chicken spaghetti. And it's not at all what you would think about. It's not that creamy, like chicken tetrazzini kind of cheesy thing, although I really like that too. This is more of it's a tomato based, you use coriander, and oh, it's just such a delicious recipe. So we got that made, and we got to use the main part of the chicken for that. And now I'm taking what's left of the chicken and turning it into a chicken salad. Getting all this chicken chopped up, and I am putting it in my bowl. What's in my bowl right now is celery and those chopped up onions that I chopped up as well. So I'm getting all this chicken done here as well. And then once I have that done, so now that I've gotten the chicken done, once I stir it, because I'm not a big fan of like a super stringy chicken salad, so I've got like chunks of chicken in here, and that's perfectly fine for me and the way we make chicken salad around here. Okay, so before I clean this block off again, and my knife off again to use it for something else, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my eggs. So now I'm just cutting up the eggs. That adds just a little bit of a different flavor and texture into it, adds a little bit more protein. I don't have a ton of eggs here. I think on the size of chicken salad I'm making, I probably would have done a half dozen really, but this is what I have because this is what was boiled and ready to go. And one of the things we do like to do is keep a half dozen hard-boiled eggs in our refrigerator all of the time, ready to eat. But it's also a good protein for me. I've begun doing over the last few months pretty strategically intermittent fasting. And this is a good break fast when I decide to eat in the afternoon. And so we've got a couple of these on hand, and these are going in just like this. So simple chop, super easy to chop eggs. In the past, I've had all kinds of little devices where you could like slice eggs with strings, and I don't know. I like a knife, and a lot of the tools. I mean, there are some good tools like. You got to have a Vitamix. I mean, a Vitamix is essential in every kitchen. And as I've learned, the Instant Pot is also become an essential in all kitchens. But for egg chopping, I just don't really need all of that. So here, my mix is starting to come together. I'm getting that going. Okay, now I'm going to clean up my mess, get all this stuff out of the way so that I can move into some of this stuff and add it in, get it all chopped up. So now that I've gotten my block all cleaned off again and washed my knife, I can go ahead and start chopping up some of this pickle stuff, start adding that into my mix of what I had in there already, and then go ahead and begin adding the real mayo, the habanero paste, and some mustard seed, and then coming up with what is the delicious taste that I'm really looking for this recipe. And like I said, it's just kind of, there's no recipe. It's just, this is what I have. These are the types of things I need to put in it. And that's what I'm going with. So let's get started on that. So I can pull out of this jar, and these are all homemade pickles these were actually all made at the farm. My mom made them. So I'm going to pull out one nice pickle. That's going to be my pickle relish that goes in. Let's see, do I have anything else in here I want? No, I think I'm just going to leave that. This is a good way to use a lot of pickles. When you have a lot of pickles, chicken salads and things like that are good to use for that. Now this jar, yep, I'm going to get out of here maybe one. Because, I mean, really, you're not going to be able to tell. There might be a little cruciferous, but it's not going to be enough to make a huge difference. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that stuff in. And it's kind of sneaky and hidden because I've learned as really when my kids were very young, that I could sneak in different types of vegetables with different types of ingredients and things into things if they just matched what else they were eating. And my kids detest mushrooms, but I can tell you for sure that we have snuck mushrooms in that they didn't know were there, and they loved the dish, whatever it was, because you just have to mask it, you know? And cauliflower is a good, easy one to mask in a chicken salad. Garlic. So I did take one little garlic, pickled garlic out of there. I think I'm good with onion, so I don't want to add any more onion. So I don't think I even need that one. Okay, so here it is, you know, again, simple chopping, throwing stuff over to my chickens that I don't want to go in there. Just giving my, it's, you know, and these pickles are not super crisp, which is the reason why I put raw onion in, because that gives it a crisp. You can put some pecans or something else in there if you want to have a little crunch in there. Celery is good for that. If you're not using a ton of brining and salt and that kind of dill pickle flavored tartness that I like, then definitely apples or pears are good for that as well. Although when it gets to be this briny, it's not going to be really good with like pickles or anything like that. Now, one thing you could use, I do like to use a Pampered Chef chopper to get this stuff really broken down. And so I'm going to get that. Well, apparently we don't have one of those anymore. That's how often I cook, right? But you can just do a simple, you know, just an easier, quicker chop. Just take some bigness out of it and just get it all nice and chopped up. I probably could have chopped it up a little bit more if I didn't realize I wasn't going to use the chopper. But then, of course, get this stuff really nice and chopped up too. And this has a little crunch to it, so that'll help to add a little bit of crunch in there as well. And, you know, this cauliflower is not as cruciferous as like broccoli or, you know, radish leaves or radishes or anything like that. So this should be nice and pickled and good for just adding some more of that pickle crunchiness into it. Yeah, I'm a little, like, you know, I like salty, I like briny, I like that flavor a lot. Now, this might not be the way you want to do it. You may want to do it sweeter. You may want to add crunchier, sweet things to yours. You may want to add, you may like it crunchy and sweet. I mean, you know, crunchy and sweet's good sometimes. I definitely want to use this little garlic because I love garlic. I love pickled garlic. In fact, I would just eat that if I was here on my own and I didn't have something to put it in. I could just eat that. So, I mean, really, I'm just making a nice little mixture of stirred up, crunchy, pickled stuff. All right, now I'm just gonna grab it up. Doesn't have to be perfectly chopped. Throwing it in here into my bowl with all the rest of the stuff here. Making myself a big old nice bowl. Okay. Alrighty, now I've got this habanero paste. I'm gonna put a tiny little dollop of that. I mean little, because this stuff is fire hot. So I'm just gonna put about that much in there. And then I'll take this, literally squirt it in there. Oh, that's probably about a tablespoon and a half, maybe. I may need more than that, but this is okay for now. This is brand new. I'm gonna use a clean utensil on it. I'm gonna put, I love those mustard seeds rather than just the mustard. Oh, I'm excited about that. Okay, let's see if that's gonna be good enough. I'm going to take my fork that I got out earlier, and this is when I'll start stirring it, right? And then it's just a matter of getting it to the consistency I want. I do want to add some spice to it, so what I'm doing here is parsley flakes, which these parsley flakes are actually, like, I actually grew those parsley flakes, so we just put them in a container from before. Garlic powder, I did not grow this garlic. I can't really grow garlic very well down here. I'm going to use that. I'm not using any more salt, so I'm not using garlic salt or any salt seasoning because the brine is going to be so salty. I don't want to add any more. I do want a little bit more celery powder in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of that in before I get to really mixing. And I don't think you can really have too much celery salt. Parsley flakes are nice. Parsley and celery are similar, so mostly this parsley is just for a little bit of green texture in there. And sometimes that, I mean, it's the flavoring, but sometimes it's just about the textures that you want to make sure you have good textures in there. Let's put a little bit of garlic salt. And get to mixing it. I can already tell that I just don't have enough mayo in there, and also because I'm using a mustard seed rather than the mustard cream, the mustard sauce, I don't have as much of that like creaminess that I want. So I'm gonna add a little bit more mayo. That's about another tablespoon, I guess. See that? And it is getting that kind of texture of like creaminess that you might be used to. And you may want yours more creamy than this. And you can see how my chicken starts to come apart. So it's not like big chunks of chicken. It's still more of a shredded up chicken. But it's got a good thing going. I think I do want to add a little bit more of this mustard seed. I'm so in love with mustard seed. It's so pretty. It smells so good. I'm gonna put a little bit more of that in there. This may not at all be your flavor. It is very briny, very tart, very salt. I mean, it's definitely mustard, yellow, pickle, you know, but that may not be your taste. And you know what? Your taste is allowed and you can do it however you want to. But what I'm showing you is that you can literally do it however you want to. Take that chicken, make sure you get it turned into something. Then you've got a few days worth of easy snack. One of the things that's happening here at our house is that we're getting some work done on some of the flooring in the kitchen. So we don't need to be in the kitchen as often and cooking and in the way and so many dishes. And part of some of the issue with the reason why the flooring needed to be replaced was because we had a leak and a problem with our dishwasher. So, you know, I mean, sometimes you just kind of prepare things and know, look, I've got a few things in the fridge now to eat. I would put some stuff in the freezer. So we've got chicken salad. We've also got the leftover chicken spaghetti and the chowder. Anything that's not eaten in the next couple of days of having this stuff available to us will go in the freezer and we'll pull it out again later on a night we're trying to record the podcast, or I don't know, life happens, you know, or volleyball season starts back again and we're at volleyball games, you know, who knows what's actually going to happen with, who knows what's actually going to happen with volleyball? I have no idea. Who knows? I mean, when are we going to go? Are we going to be going out to things again? I mean, they're not going to school. Oh, it's so confusing to me. It's so confusing. But you know what? I'm not going to get all upset about it, because the fact of the matter is, right here, right now, in this very present moment, I am making myself some chicken salad and it's going to be delicious and I can't wait to eat it. And I'm glad to be sharing this with you because I love you guys and I like talking to you. Clearly, because I talk to you guys all of the time, right? So here we go. On to this deliciousness. And I guess at this point, I just go ahead and take a little nibble of it and decide whether I think it's what I want. Oh my God, it's really good. And you know what? I think it might actually need a little bit of this habanero paste, a little bit more of this habanero paste. I'm gonna put about that much because it didn't have that much spice, and I'm loving the spice these days. Also, it's not quite, it's still kind of dry. So this is when I'll bring in a little bit of my brine. Okay? But you know what? For shits and giggles, because I like to shit and giggle, I'm gonna add some more mustard seed. All right. But the flavor of it, oof, the flavor is delicious. And if you think about it, I make this, have a little nibble on it this afternoon for my snack before dinner. Because we're a 1 meal a day family, intermittent fasting, and we're all doing it in our own way. There's nobody that's directing anyone on how to do it. But we don't eat breakfast anymore, although we'll eat breakfast for dinner because we love breakfast. For me, it's the health benefits of it that matter more than anything else. It's the idea that it's making our lifestyle easier and it's costing us less money. All of that matters in how it all works for our family. These little nibbles and bites of things that are available for us to use. So that's nice. I'm gonna give this one another little bite and see what it tastes like. Well, chicken gristle's no good. I didn't want that. But the chicken salad itself is very tasty. See there? And I'll actually take it out of this bowl so I can clean this bowl up and put it in a nicer bowl. And then if we want a bite of this, and the fact of the matter is, make it how you want to make it. Make it with what you want. But most importantly, use your resources wisely, especially if you're stepping out into really buying quality ingredients from the farmer's market or doing your own processing and things like that. You've got to make sure that you're using all of that wisely and making sure that it all gets used. And that's really feels good. And it's a really good use of our budget. And so back, I've got my beautiful plate and I've got my chicken salad. I put a little paprika on top of it just to give it a little color. And then I added to the side of it some golden watermelon and then a couple of cantaloupe. And then what this is just some little lentil chips that I eat because I try not to eat grain as often as I possibly can. So I found this particular variety. I don't want to give them too much plug, but if you're looking for something like that, there are options available for having little noshes that are grain-free. Then of course I've got my nice little glass of kombucha here, and I'm gonna eat with my fingers because I didn't bring myself any silverware. My fingers. That's really it. Sometimes just take a moment to enjoy the moment and enjoy the cooking and the making and the creating and the part that you can do that makes you feel good. Now I'm eating, oh, by the way, I grew this watermelon and I grew this cantaloupe also. So that's kind of a fun little side note. So that's it. And then this delicious kombucha is ginger turmeric. And I drink it almost every day, a little bit of it almost every day. So that's it. I hope that you have a fabulous day. Love you. Bye-bye.